That should do it. Well, no turning back now. How should we clean this up?
I'm searching the room.
Was there a rat in there? Maybe it was
This
just the
room is
rags.
pure insanity. But I can't let it shake me. Why did you come here, Aaliyah? Remember the real reason you decided to investigate Morgan's house in the first place. We came here to find a missing girl.
What do you want me to investigate? The board. Photo of Daniel.
Daniel Clarkson. The file said his only real talent was his ability to pick up women. But when I spoke with him in the warehouse, he seemed dignified, like a truly accomplished man.
I guess this will kind of give us a, like, how where is everyone now
Marrying into
thing.
the Clarkson family must have put him through a lot.
Let's talk about it.
Why do you think Jethro here survived?
Why?
I mean, doesn't he look like the kind of guy who'd die first in a horror movie?
He married into the Clarkson family.
Look at that red seed thing right there.
He didn't possess Clarkson blood, so he had nothing to do with Helena Doman's plan.
The blood purge thing? But if that was all there was to it, then Helena Doman wouldn't have killed anyone but Clarksons, right? Yet a ton of the Clarkson gang members died, along with Sheriff Woods.
Well, like, Sheriff Woods was a mistake, then the gang members were just kind of there.
Doesn't add up.
She did whatever it took to achieve her goals. She'd kill if the plan required it.
Basically.
But killing people outside of the Clarkson family was never a priority. Her ultimate goal was to cut off the Clarkson bloodline. Maybe he was always meant to be an assistant to the goddess of fertility.
What, like a servant?
He was the kind of person who was most in his element when he had someone to serve. Even afterwards, he let Patricia take over the estate, while he became her assistant. As soon as he settled into his role, the townspeople started to respect him. Now they practically revere him, and he's even earned himself a nickname. One-Armed Danny.
He still has his arm, he's just missing the hand.
So you think his life
Be
played
accurate,
out
guys,
exactly
come on.
the way Professor R planned it to go? Talk about tragic.
Patricia Clarkson isn't here, and he's done nothing except narrowly skirt the thin line of legality in all the right ways. He's so abnormal. How can there not be a single shred of evidence against him?
Well, let's talk to him.
Come on, Agent Jones. I know you're hiding something.
What are you talking about?
You've been watching him for 4.5 years, haven't you? Can you really stand here and tell me that you never saw a single one of the strange signs I'm picking up on now?
What signs?
Look, he has his drum kit.
Deadly Premonitions.
Roll credits again.
Preparations for kidnapping or terrorist activities, sexual depravity, violent tendencies, self-mutilation, or even just contacting a specific person periodically.
Nope, nada. He doesn't fit any of that. You think I'd really ignore something that obvious? I may be a schlub, but I'm still an FBI agent.
Then why didn't you do anything about this room?
There's no windows.
Or did you merely choose to ignore his abnormal proclivities?
You couldn't see this room.
You want to know what I did? I did my damn job. End of story. I was outside the entire time. How do you expect me to notice a room like this from out there? It's as simple as that. At least it was, until you dragged me into this whole mess. Don't blame me just because your big investigation ended up leading nowhere.
Then tell me the truth. After seeing this room, can you really say that man is in his right mind?
Who knows?
He kept this room a total secret from you for over 4.5 years. No normal human is capable of such a feat. Only a true genius, or a true monster. Can you really guarantee that he won't try anything if we just let him go here?
Well,
Then you need to help me. Find some sort of evidence that we can use to make him reveal what he's plotting.
okay.
He was trying to figure out the case because he was curious about it. He's a good man. Actually, I don't know how good Zach is. Don't like Zach as much as I like York.
I thought she was imprisoned right here in this room. But there was no one here. Where could she be then? I was so positive, but she isn't here. There is something about this room, though. Agent Jones, what do you think?
Me? I'm not as smart as you. Why are you even asking me?
Are you hiding something?
Of course not. Knock it off. Me? Hiding something? Ha! That's a good one.
Seems like the lady doth protest too much.
Come on. I got nothing to hide.
He said that to her earlier. You forgot. The callback.
I thought I would find answers in this room. I thought that Patricia would be here, but I was wrong. This room is only filled with photos of people related to the case and the handiwork of a madman. Feels like I'm wandering through a heavy mist. Why is Morgan showcasing those women's photos? And that bed.
What do you mean those women's photos? It's like everyone's photo up here. The bed obviously is freaky and probably what we need to look at, but... Actually, it looks like we have to look at everything. Alright, well, that's fine. Melvin.
Sheriff Melvin Woods. I never met him myself, but his face makes him look like a very nice guy. His background in childhood didn't have any red flags either. Yet we're supposed to believe that he was one of the masterminds behind that entire incident? If you loved someone from the bottom of your heart, would you ever be able to marry someone else? Or kill for them?
Whoa, what are we talking about?
I never heard of any kind of motive like that in any other murder case. I just keep feeling like we're being fed a story that he made up in his mind.
What if he did?
True. Honestly, without having experienced what that's like, I can't really say what I'd do. But I'd never try and force love to happen if it didn't seem like it was meant to be.
I'm a gentleman, of
There are
course.
3.5 billion women on this planet. There's got to be more than one specific person who anyone can fall deeply in love with, right?
But what if we were talking about pizza?
Oh
Not
shit.
women.
You hit the button.
You just discovered the perfect ultimate pizza. But you aren't allowed to take even a single bite unless you kill someone for the cook.
I'd do it in a
Have
heartbeat.
you ever loved someone with all your heart?
What kind of person do you take me for?
That's my line.
That wasn't really an answer.
After she lost her family in the Carré incident, she went to go live at the Clarkson estate. And once she grew up, she assumed control of their empire seemingly without any hesitation. She must be strong. How did she eventually come to accept her cursed blood and the fate it placed on her shoulders? The one who took her in after the incident was Daniel Clarkson, the next in line to succeed the Clarkson family. He's the one that
The
ended
only
up
one in line,
raising her
really.
from that point onwards. Isn't fate strange? In the end, two people who were completely unrelated by blood ended up inheriting that house.
Yeah, you're right. But sometimes I wonder, what is family anyway?
It's a state of mind, bro.
Go back far enough, we're all strangers to one another. We're talking countless generations, marriages and birth, you know.
Humans love to deify the rules they create. It's almost like that's been an unwritten law from the very start. Is this supposed to be the altar from the site where Lise Clarkson's body was found? Why would he want to replicate that inside of his own home?
Because he's trying to solve it.
There's no way this man is
Let
sane.
him do his thing, bro. Don't know what the mannequins are for. Why not just use those? What's the picture that's on the ground over there?
Why did Lise have to die first?
He has like a little tree branch coming out of her. Oh, that was a dead rat. I think. Squirrel?
What is this?
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
What do you mean you gotta be
This
kidding
woman
me?
paints such a bizarre picture. But upon closer look, I can see some strange sort of pattern to it all. Was Morgan trying to recreate something with all this? If so, there must be a reason for all of these weird and hideous things.
I wanted to look at the picture on the ground, maybe.
When Helena Doman attacked the estate, he just happened to be somewhere else. Whether it was through luck or simple coincidence, that's how he managed to survive. When Helena Doman returned home, someone must have let her inside.
You think that was her brother-in-law, Daniel?
I don't know.
Well, alligators did chomp his arm off.
It was
He
a
probably had it
crocodile?
in for old man PJ too.
No, he loved PJs.
You know, I don't think he had anything to do with this.
Why not?
You're making it out to be more complicated than it really is. That's always the problem with people like you. Too smart for your own good.
Just get to the point.
Professor R marched straight through the front door to the mansion. She arrived right at her destination using the quickest route possible without having to undergo a single security check.
I know. My question is, how was she able to do that?
PJ let her in.
Because she's family. It doesn't matter if PJ disowned her. He never stopped loving his son. A father would never abandon his child, no matter how much they failed to fulfill his
I
expectations.
don't know if never is the right word.
That's what being a parent is all about.
I can understand PJ, like, kind of having a weird idea of being willing to let his family back in, but...
Don't look at me like that. I know, I don't have a son myself, but I have a father. He's still back in my hometown, managing the printing plant my grandfather started. He'll be turning 80 soon. He wanted me to take over the place, but as you can see, I'm out here. But I know how this whole thing works. Even though I haven't seen him in forever, the minute I go home, he'll welcome me with warm, open arms.
I don't think it's the same thing, but whatever. What's up there, red rope?
Rope tied around a lighting fixture. What could it mean?
I'm assuming I have to look at everything again. Don't actually have to look at the...
A woman
Galena-esque.
so beautiful
I guess
she
it's
felt
Galena.
like she could make it as an actress in Hollywood. And this is how she ended up. Sometimes it seems like God abandoned us humans a long time ago. I feel it more and more with each new case.
I'll tell you what, didn't think that was Galena, but I guess it makes sense considering the hunting trophies.
Galena Clarkson went to California to become an actress. But things never took off for her, so she eventually returned home. Then she murdered her own daughter and ended up like this. Where did she go wrong?
Oh, I guess because it's the V shape, right? It just... Because I think the head would have been still connected, like it wouldn't have been lifted up on the bed.
She did manage to appear in a few movies, right?
Not as any characters with actual names, and never with much clothes on.
So that's the only value they saw in her, huh? Sorry, that was insensitive.
It's an everyday occurrence in that world. She was also bullied a lot.
Bullied? How?
They'd cut up her costumes, her scripts, and even her own clothes.
Seems a bit much.
Everywhere she went.
Why?
Then, after 3 years of that, her stylist chopped off a chunk of her hair. By accident.
Was it just because she was a bitch?
Are you kidding me?
I did a little investigating on this. In the end, a self-titled big cheese producer tricked her. She almost ended up going into porn.
Not hard to imagine what would have happened after that.
One witness said that after returning to Carré, she refused to use scissors to cut anything.
Okay. Let's look at these strange trophies.
I've seen the bedrooms
love the
of
cigar.
countless violent criminals, but this one is on a completely different level. It's beyond insane.
Considering like the stories that York told, at least there's no skin suits in here.
What's that?
A hunting trophy. A brown bear. With a dragonfly eye patch.
Why is it smoking a cigar?
It's probably supposed to represent Philip J. Clarkson's body.
And the elk is?
Helena Doman.
So that's why it's got such good taste in fashion. And this one is Galena Clarkson?
Why did he want to line up corpses that were killed in different places, all together in a single room? Red seeds?
I guess both of the trophy heads counted as the same thing. Alright, red rope.
Rope tied
This
around
seemed
a lighting
weird.
fixture. What could it mean?
Yeah, I forgot. I already looked at it.
You sure it's okay to press that?
It'll be a saw trap.
Won't know until we try.
Hey, it's Woodstock. Look, a peace sign.
I mean, I guess if you really tried to put the bodies together, it could kind of make the upside down peace sign.
Love and peace, man. Even I can figure out what this is from. It's Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Grateful Dead, and Led Zeppelin. But I shouldn't have to explain it to a music nut like you, right?
That isn't a peace mark. It's upside down. You don't need to be a music nut to see that.
I don't know how you would see that, though. When it's on the floor
Who
like
says
that.
That's the top part. If you're looking from Lisa's head, this is the top part, making it a big, fat peace mark.
No, this is the ground.
Where's your proof?
The red seeds.
I guess. You could also just say, hey, I read the Greenvale report. They talked about an upside down peace sign that turned out to be a tree.
Seeds go in the ground, right? That makes this wall the bottom. Lisa's head is clearly at the top. Period. Also, Agent Jones. Led Zeppelin never played at Woodstock.
Damn, you got him. He was just testing you to
He's
make sure you
representing
knew that you were a
human with
music
a
nut.
hunting trophy made from an animal. I feel like I'm looking at a piece of modern art done in really bad taste.
Gotta look at the heads again. Greenvale case files. God damn it. Keep going back to the
Taking
photo of
daughter
Daniel.
A man who murdered his beloved wife and daughter. That's quite the feat.
Was Daniel behind
Sure
it all?
seems like our friend Daniel
They're
here
really
was just
focusing on
destined to
him.
suffer. He crossed the entire continent and married into the Clarkson family, all for the sake of the woman he loved. But then the love of his life became a drug addict and ended up murdering their very own daughter. And she too was murdered as part of her big brother's conspiracy. Finally, in order to prove that he could take responsibility for the family, he gave up his right arm to his father-in-law, who got blown to bits soon afterwards. And to add insult to injury, all the inheritance went to PJ's secret heir. If I had to go through all that, I'm pretty sure I'd go crazy.
I don't know.
What do you mean?
He found someone he loved so much, he moved across the entire continent just to be with her. That's beautiful. It also seems that he was eventually able to make an identity for himself and Lou Carré as well. After I found his daughter's body, I interrogated him for a bit. When I told him we were going to do an autopsy on her body, he didn't react violently in any way. I remember him looking relieved and tired, kind of like someone who'd just woken up from a coma.
I'm gonna look again. I'm out of juice. Alright, so I think we have to look at the skull still.
According to Morgan's story, she was the mastermind behind everything. The whole purpose of her plan was to protect her declining clan from their imminent downfall. She had to kill all her family members in order to purify the bloodline, so that in the end only the goddess of fertility would be left behind. I don't buy it. This plan has so many holes in it, I don't know where to begin. Yes, Katrina may have carried all of the evidence away, but I still can't believe he was actually able to turn in this fairy tale as an official report.
But it was real. I was there. I saw
She
it.
planned a string of murders all in order to restore the Clarksons to their former glory, right?
Yeah. According to Morgan's story. Matches up with the files, too.
But the only proof of that is the confession she privately gave to Morgan just before she died. Galena Clarkson was also murdered immediately after she confessed. Don't you think it's all a little too convenient?
Wasn't really immediate with Galena.
Well, story-wise, yeah.
I mean, it's still kind of convenient, but...
And the sacrifices. None of the FBI's official records contain an example of an actual human sacrifice. Aside from the cases that Francis Zach Morgan handled, that is.
There are tons of examples of animal sacrifice, though. And remember the witch hunts back in the Middle Ages?
Meaning?
Meaning, there are always exceptions to the rule. And Morgan alluded to the existence of some sort of journal, right? I think he said he read it in Professor R's lab. If we could find that, maybe this would all become easier to swallow.
The report didn't mention anything about a journal. And if it truly did exist, it surely would have been submitted as evidence. Unless he tried to cover it up on purpose. Or...
Unless the journal never existed in the first place.
Exactly. Philip J. Clarkson, the central figure behind the Clarksons' rise to power. He took 2 wives and fathered 3 children. But despite all his successes, he's been immortalized as a hunting trophy. Nothing but a sick joke.
I don't know, I think it's a pretty funny joke. He would love to be a bear.
He was taught how to rule as a child, never confided in anyone, and married for purely political reasons. Then he prospered so much that he became powerful enough to rule an entire town on his own. But in the end, his own child betrayed him and ended his entire clan in a series of violent deaths. If that was your life, how would you look back on it?
Poorly?
Yeah, beats me. I wasn't born into a rich family, nor was I ever taught how to rule.
I like how these recycled boxes have like a toxic sign on them.
And for what it's worth, I've also never knocked up a young ex-actress. But I guess the one thing we can say is that any good life needs balance. Get too hung up on one thing and you lose sight of everything else. And if you betray someone, you'll get betrayed too. If someone thinks they can step all over people and then live out the rest of their life in peace, they're fooling themselves. We always get to see how those people end up in our line of work. In the end, they die horrible deaths. That is why pizza is the only thing I trust. Pizza never betrays you.
Wanted a quick reminder that Simon likes pizza.
This case took place in Lucan.
Oh, did I miss out on the
Centered
Greenvale
around
thing? I assumed I
Clarkson's
needed to look at it. God damn it.
Oppressive authority, cross purposes, madness, and love. But Katrina took the truth along with many innocent lives and buried it all at the bottom of the swamp. But there's one truth that can never be washed away. This all started with the death of a young girl.
Anagram. I can't look at it anymore. God damn it, that upsets me. Like, the vision thing's kind of dumb to begin with, and the only reason I would use it is to make sure I don't accidentally... Well, she talked about a young girl, so probably Lise.
People involved with the Lou Carré case. How could she agree to kill her own daughter, then herself? It's hard to imagine ever being okay with that, no matter how depressed I became.
I mean, it was drugs, right?
Why did she believe what Professor R told her? The whole blood purge story. There's no way anyone in their right mind would ever believe that.
You got a point.
No matter how badly all the bullying must have broken her heart. I just find it too hard to believe. Don't you?
Yeah. But you shouldn't think too hard about it.
Why not?
Human beings don't make sense. We always do things that can't be explained with common logic, especially when it concerns our parents, children, and siblings.
That doesn't satisfy me. No matter how irrational an action may be, I want to know exactly why that person made such an irrational decision. Otherwise, what hope do we have?
You're never going to be in a situation where everything makes perfect sense. Just stop sticking your nose so deeply into everything. That's my advice, as an old guy who's lived twice as long as you.
And also likes pizza, in case you weren't
You and I
aware.
are nothing alike. You decided to give up on your life and spend the rest of your time on Earth sitting around and playing Sudoku.
Sudoku is a good game. Shut up.
A 16-year-old girl who was murdered in Lou Carré in 2005. After that, she remained frozen for 14 years, waiting for someone to discover her. I was the one who found her, which means I have a duty to lay her soul to rest. Everyone thinks that the principal thing to the tree is the fruit. But in point of fact, the principal thing to it is the seed. Now I know why Lise Clarkson was murdered first. Lisa's death was Professor R having second thoughts. According to Morgan, her plan was to perform parricide and filicide, then commit suicide. Those were the 3 deaths necessary to complete the ritual, remember? Which means she technically could have killed Patricia first. That would have been the best way to delay any interference from the Clarksons themselves. The reason she didn't kill Patricia first is because Lena was actually following a different plan inside her own mind. Or perhaps she merely changed her plan as she followed through with it. At some point, new emotions started to take root within her. She had second thoughts about something. And in order to shake those off, she used Galena to kill Lise first. In order to cut off any possible escape. But that only made her plan move ahead quicker than she could have ever imagined, which forced her to rush right up to the end with those misgivings always in the back of her mind.
Huh? Wait, hold on. Yeah, you lost me. What are you talking about?
In other words,
Like that she had to point at the deer head for this.
At some point, Helena Doman decided that she wanted to make Patricia the next heir. The blood purge wasn't for the goddess of fertility. It was for their daughter, Patricia.
Wait, are you saying Helena knew from the start that Sheriff Woods would die with Candy?
That's the only explanation I can think of.
Huh.
Remember, this is only assuming that everything Morgan told us was true. Until I can trust that man, this is all nothing more than conjecture.
Hard to trust a man to try to choke you out, but...
Considering how insane this all is, it sounds perfectly believable to me.
Is he gonna wake up yet? He's gonna fade out. He's gonna be dreaming again. Forrest is gonna do a little dance in front of him.